Hi, my name is Joseph Rory, and I'm with the Mary C. Metz School of Common Law. I told you that the last video I did on treaties and their limitations, that if I would look up in the dictionary to see if there was a difference even in that. So that's what I will do is, yes, there was a difference in treaty. All these things, these words that depleted the government that was actually formed has been depleted and totally done away with through lexicography. Little by little, up until you believe the government you have is that original. So let's go with treaty again. If you recall in the last video, if you watched it, if not, go to it. The limitations of treaties, that they have to be in compliance with the Constitution. They're not above the Constitution. It only becomes the law of the land if it's in compliance with it. If it interrupts rights and disturbs and prohibits the rights of the citizenry and the people, then obviously there's a problem. So anyway, in the last video I did bring that up. So, and I did bring up the fact that if I'll check and see if they even played with the word in the 64 dictionary, and yes they did, and we'll also look up another word, Senate, today. There's going to be plenty of words here and there throughout. You're going to find out that dictionaries has probably been your biggest schemer in changing your theories and your political thoughts. All right, treaty in 1863. If some of you have not kept up with my Merriam-Webster dictionary conspiracy, we proved that Merriam-Webster's company has done nothing but destroy the original America. And here's just some more proof. If you need more proof, go to my Merriam-Webster dictionary conspiracy to defraud, and you'll hear me read out from the 63 edition, 64 edition. And of course, I have the dictionaries back so you can vouch that the 63 was consistent with not only all of Noah Webster's original editions up to this, but the other English-speaking dictionaries of the time, of, say, England's dictionaries of Boggs and Nathan Phillips, and etc. of these very words. The word treaty, negotiation, act of treating for the adjustment of difference or for forming an agreement, as a treaty is on the carpet. An agreement, league, or contract between two or more nations or sovereigns, formally signed by the commissioners, property authorized and solely ratified by the several sovereigns or the supreme powers of each state. Treaties are of various kinds, as treaties are regulating commercial intercourse, treaties of alliance, offensive and defensive, treaties for hiring troops, treaties of peace, etc. Now we go to the 1864 edition, and it says the act of treating for the adjustment of differences as for forming an agreement, negotiation. An agreement, league, or contract between two or more nations or sovereigns, formally signed by commissioners, properly authorized, and commonly ratified by the several sovereigns or the supreme power of each state, an agreement between two or more independent states. Now we want to go back to this one, and we want to verify the little, oh by the way, let's finish this out with treaty making. Treaty making, authorized to make or for treaties. The treaty-making power is lodged in the executive government. In monarchies, it is vested in the king or emperor. In the United States of America, it is vested in the president by and with the consent of the Senate. Now, this is where the difference is. When you get over here, when they say treaty-making, they're real close in the original primary definitions However, in the treaty making, authorized to make or form treaties, as in the United States, the treaty making power is lodged in the executive government. Now, the missing piece here that's important was that treaties got to be okayed with the consent of the Senate. So that does allow the Senate to be involved in the treaty. It's not just an executive power. If we understand what was going on in those days, the executive branch, the president, Lincoln, and his so-called superpowers, and he was just president, he could just do what he wants, type powers, they were all working together towards the idea of the superpower of the president. And so, like any other way that you would discover the powers, is you would read the Constitution, and you would find that there's three articles, Article 1, Article 2, and Article 3, that deals with powers delegated, not just claiming the powers that they have, but powers delegated to them. You have to be in power yourself to delegate. So the real power is whoever did the delegation. But anyway, the treaty change here was, as they put it, lodged in the executive government. Period. Here, with the consent of the Senate. So you see the little pieces, and if you haven't read or go through these videos about the dictionary conspiracy, you'll see all the other words. They all play in. There's no way to form the same image of government if you use 1863's definitions. You will never see the same formation, or let's say transformation, of the new government, the new union, the new federal, the new Congress, the new states, and etc. that is here in your mind today. Because you have this up. I know you're not reading the 63 editions. I know attorneys are not reading it. I know judges are not reading it. And I know that anybody out there is not making use of the old language that actually properly defines your country. Now, Senate needs to be looked at too, because again, we have nothing but taking away everything in Senate, Congress, state, etc. All of these play into the changed government. In 1863 and back, an assembly or council of senators, a body of the principal inhabitants of a city or state, invested with a share in the government. The Senate of ancient Rome was one of the most illustrious bodies of men that ever bore this name. Some of the Swiss cantons have a Senate, either legislative or executive. In the United States, Senate denotes the higher branch of house of a legislature, such as the Senate of the United States, or upper house of the Congress. And in most of the states, the higher and least numerous branches of the legislature is called the Senate. In the United States, the Senate is an elective body. In 1864 Senate, an assembly of council of citizens distinguished by birth. Get this. Over here, let's remind where we're going here. An assembly of council of senators, a body of the principal inhabitants of a city or state. In the United States, they're elected, so forth. Here, it's by birth. The assembly or council of citizens distinguished by birth, dignities, wealth, influence, etc. A body of elders appointed or elected from among the nobles of the nation, and having supreme legislative authority. Now, I want to put emphasis on that term, supreme legislative authority, just a second. The Senate was thus the medium through which all affairs of the whole government had to pass. Hence, the upper or less numerous branch of a legislature in various countries, as in France, in the United States, and in some Swiss cantons. Hence, the general, a legislative body, a state council, the legislative department of a government. All right. we've got here Senate that's basically been redefined to nobles and all your better people. And that may be true in one sense, because we do try to pick out our better people to sit up there. But it's this phrase here I want to add here, the supreme legislative authority. Now, what was interesting was that statement coming in out of all these years, because that statement's never been in the Webster's Dictionary, is back in the convention, they actually wanted to call the legislature the supreme legislature, just like they ended up with the Supreme Court. They wanted the supreme legislature. And that got kicked out. So, you know, Goodrich, and he was the son-in-law of Noah Webster, and Noah Porter. Maybe had that in mind, who knows. But one thing is clear is that they made these changes. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask you to contact us to show not only support, but read this. This is something you're going to have to trace down. I've got probably 10 videos up now. I'm getting, what, 200 views? And if I was going to tell you how to make wet water, you'd probably listen to, well, how do you make wet water? And I'd probably get 1 million views. Friend, it's time to know the truth. You've been lied to. Your own lexicographers are doing it. Your dictionaries that you think you have trust in, what have they done to you? What have they made you think up here versus what you should be thinking? And for those that has not, I go over the words liberty, that they change from year to year there, Congress, state, e pluribus unum, Constitution, federal, all of these that distinguishes a government. So I want you to understand the importance. I take this very important. I don't know what I need to say, how I need to say it. But one thing is clear. You've been defrauded. I can guarantee I am talking to you. You have been defrauded. If you're an exception, hey, give me a call. I'm glad to know that there's somebody else that's caught this too. Now, I'm not the only one that just caught this. By the way, most of those words I got out of a book written in I think about 68 was his first edition. I ended up with a 1872 edition. Sage, which was Jefferson Davis's lawyer, he wrote a book, and he had to go to London to write it because he would have got arrested for what he had to put in that book. But he wrote a book on the Republic of Republics, it's the name of it. If you can find one, be sure to go get it. It's a very great book of proof of what our country was and what it's supposed to be. And he's the one that pointed out a lot of these words, and from there I kept going because I realized that me being a collector of dictionaries, I would be able to run down what he said in his book. So I want to let you go here now, and I hope to hear from you one way or the other. You can contact us by emailing dueprocessexplained@gmail.com. May the Lord bless you until shallow come.